It started with a painting. A painting I never should have bought. I found it at a flea market on the outskirts of town, tucked away in a dimly lit corner of an old vendor's stall. The moment I saw it, I was drawn to it, almost as if it were calling to me. It was an oil painting, faded and cracked with age, depicting a woman in a flowing black dress standing in front of a mirror. Her face was hauntingly beautiful, but her eyes were wrong. They were too dark, too hollow, like two bottomless pits staring straight into my soul. The vendor, an elderly man with a crooked smile, noticed my interest. "Ah, that one," he said, his voice low and gravelly. "It's special. But be warned, it doesn't belong to everyone." I laughed it off, thinking it was just a sales tactic. I handed him $50, and he wrapped the painting in brown paper, his hands trembling slightly as he did so. I didn't think much of it at the time. But that night, everything changed. I hung the painting in my living room, right above the fireplace. It looked stunning there, almost as if it had always belonged. But as the hours passed, I began to feel uneasy. The woman's eyes seemed to follow me wherever I went, her gaze piercing through me like a knife. I tried to ignore it, chalking it up to my imagination, but then I noticed something strange. The reflection in the mirror behind her wasn't hers. It was mine. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. I blinked, thinking my eyes were playing tricks on me, but no, there I was, standing in the mirror, my face pale and terrified. The woman in the painting, however, was no longer looking at me. She was looking at my reflection, her lips curled into a faint, sinister smile. I stumbled back, nearly knocking over a lamp. My hands were shaking as I grabbed the painting and threw it into the closet, slamming the door shut. I told myself it was just a trick of the light, a weird optical illusion. But deep down, I knew something was terribly wrong. The next few days were a blur. Strange things began happening in my apartment. I'd hear whispers in the dead of night, soft and unintelligible, coming from the closet. My reflection in the mirror would sometimes move on its own, smiling at me when I wasn't. And then there were the dreams, vivid, horrifying dreams of the woman in the painting stepping out of the frame, her cold hands reaching for me as I screamed myself awake. I tried to get rid of the painting. I took it to a dumpster, but the next morning, it was back in my living room, hanging above the fireplace as if it had never left. I tried burning it, but the flames wouldn't touch it. I even called a priest, but he took one look at the painting and left, muttering prayers under his breath. It was then that I noticed the changes. My reflection in the mirror no longer looked like me. It was distorted, twisted, as if something was slowly taking over. My face grew paler, my eyes darker, until one day, I realized I couldn't recognize myself anymore. The woman in the painting, however, looked more alive than ever. Her smile was wider, her eyes brighter, and I could swear I saw her move when I wasn't looking. The final straw came last night. I woke up to the sound of footsteps in my living room. I grabbed a flashlight and crept out of bed, my heart racing. The closet door was wide open, and the painting was gone. I found it in the living room, hanging above the fireplace. But this time, the woman wasn't alone. Standing beside her was my reflection, trapped in the mirror, screaming silently as the woman reached out to touch it. And then, as I watched in horror, the reflection turned to look at me, its eyes filled with despair. "Help me," it mouthed. But it was too late. The woman stepped out of the painting, her cold hands gripping my shoulders as she whispered in my ear, "Thank you for freeing me." And then everything went black. When I woke up, I was alone. The painting was gone, and my apartment was eerily quiet. But when I looked in the mirror, I saw her. The woman in the painting was staring back at me, her hollow eyes filled with malice. And I realized, with a sinking feeling, that I was no longer in control. She was. And now, she's using my body to live her life, while I'm trapped in the painting, screaming silently as I watch her destroy everything I once loved. So, if you ever come across a painting of a woman in a black dress, don't buy it. Don't even look at it. Because once you do, it's already too late.